Good morning, everybody. This is Stephen A. Williams, president and founder of the creditrepairshop.com. And in today's video, we're going to talk about the debt that is being released on the market. Since the first of the year, we've been inundated with people who are being contacted by third-party debt collectors. The majority of the debt cannot even be collected, but they didn't know the rules. Some of them accidentally reset the debt by making a small payment. And I make these videos so we can stop debt collectors from being able to take advantage of people. And if you don't owe a debt, you shouldn't pay that debt. And if a debt is past the legal statute of limitations to collect, you have a legal right not to pay that debt. They might say that you should pay it because it's a moral obligation or something like that. We're not getting into that. What we're talking about is what you legally have to pay, because if they take you to court, they're going to go off of what's legal. They're not going to be talking about anything that is moral. So first, we're going to talk about the debts that's being sold from portfolios that I see have now been being released, and I'm going to talk about the solutions, and I'm going to also show you a document that I found on the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau on what they want you to know about your rights when a debt collector calls, but they don't go into full details about what you need to watch out for. So I'm going to elaborate on it to tell you what you need to watch out for. So first, let's get started. We see here that we got this portfolio, $41.5 million, 2,900 accounts. Look at that charge-off date, 2007, average balance, $14,000. I'm just going to run through this. These are mixed credit cards. Whenever I see this, it's mixed credit cards. I'm going to run through these, and then I'm going to talk about what you need to watch out for when debt collectors call, and then we're going to talk about the solutions. But I'd like to go through this to prove to you that this is like alive and well. Debt collectors are buying debt, old debt, new debt. They're just out there getting it because they can make millions of dollars by doing this, because people just don't know their rights when it comes to debt collections and what debt collectors can and can't do. Here's another batch here. We got 28.6 million, 2,900 accounts. Look at this charge-off date. The average balance, 9,000. And this is credit card also. We got here $78 million. And they're buying this for pennies on the dollar. 7,500 accounts. Charge-off date, 07 there. 10,000 balance. Here's another batch here, 34 million, 2,500, over 2,500 accounts, charge off date 2005. Look at that, 13,000 balance. They're buying this for pennies on the dollar, and they can make millions of dollars. Just think, out of this amount of people, if only, let's just say 10% paid this amount, and they're buying this for pennies on the dollar. They're buying this this whole portfolio for probably $2,000 or $3,000. Okay, let's go to the next batch. We got another mixed, 38 million, 1,700 accounts, charge off date 07, 2,100. When I see these types here, this can usually be some type of auto debt or second mortgages, personal type loans. This one here, look at that, $361 million, 29,000 accounts, average charge-off date 2,000. This is past the statute of limitations for all 50 states, but you can see they're making this available to a debt collector that would want to buy it and take a chance on it. They're selling it for pennies on the dollar. Average balance is $12,000. Here's another one, $274 million, 22,000 accounts, charge-off date 2008, 12,000 average balance. Here's another one, $170 million, 17,000 accounts, 2001 is the charge-off date, and look at that, $9,800 the average. All right, let's look here. We got another one mixed. We got here $92 million, over 10,000 accounts, and they don't even have the charge off date listed here. So, I mean, you got to really be crazy if a debt collector buys this. But they get away with doing this because people don't know their rights. If you got 10,000 people and just say 1,000 people don't know their rights, and they end up going to court and getting sued, and they they get $8,000 or say $5,000 from each of those. They just made over $500,000. That's what I'm saying. You got to know your rights. You got to know that you don't have to pay these debts when it's past statute of limitations. Here's another batch: 10,971 accounts, charge off date 2001, and $10,000 the average balance. Here's another one: 3.2 million, 1,800 accounts, 2001, $1,791. Here we go. Here another batch. We got $146 million. 136,483 accounts. Average balance $1,000. This would be so attractive to a debt collector to try to get this, because they know with these balances it's probably lower income people or people that are paycheck to paycheck. They can make them a quick offer of settling for $200 or $300. You just gotta be careful and understand your rights, because these here scare me more with people than those higher balance ones, because they may not be of the understanding of knowing their rights. And I'm not to say that people who with the higher balances and that make higher incomes know also. We see this across the board with people, all education groups, that they do not know their rights when it comes to dealing with debt collectors. Here's another one here: 31.6 million. Take a quick drink here. 56,000 accounts, and average. Another one. This is probably payday loans. From experience, that's what those type of portfolios look like. Average balance $559. There's another one here: 78 million, 14,000 accounts. Didn't put the charge off date. No charge off date on those. Charge off date was on those. $5,200 was the average on those. So I'm gonna flip over to show you what you need to do when debt collectors call. Hold on a second. Okay, so now according to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, which is the overseer of debt collection companies, this is the organization that was put in place in 2008, says that when a debt collector calls, these are what things that you need to do. So first, saying get the person's name of the debt collection company, and the company address and phone number. Now, this here, you can tell that whoever wrote this never dealt with a debt collector, because actually when a debt collector calls, it's actually reversed. They're trying to find out if you're the right person and who you are and all of that information. So this here automatically makes a problem, and let me tell you the reason why. Because if the debt collection company reveals anything, they have to be very, very careful. If they reveal anything to a person, even if it's on accident, they could get in trouble. So they have to be very careful about what they do. So this could actually, make where you're just on the phone and you end up hanging up. But if you remember my video from yesterday, you need to watch that video, and I'll get the name of it. You need to watch that video, because I talked about specifically in yesterday's video the laws that debt collectors have to abide by when buying the debt and contacting people about the debt. That video was, you should sue immediately if a debt collector does this. That's the heading of that video on my YouTube channel. If a debt collector calls you and they have not sent you a letter, they are automatically in violation. So, that's why it's so confusing with what the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau says about debt collectors, what to do and all of this. When a debt collector calls you and they have not, and I'm going to write that here, debt collector calls and they have not sent you a letter, a demand letter, they are in violation. So if a debt collector calls and you ask them this information, if you can get it out of them, and then you know that they never sent you a letter, you can immediately notify them that they did not send you a letter, and you need to send that certified mail, or you can contact an attorney that handles debt collectors in your area. Now, the debt collection has to be more than what, if it's going to be for a couple $100, that's, you're going to get an attorney for that. They can get their attorney's fees and $1,000 settlement per violation for you. But some attorneys don't really know how to deal with debt collectors, and they don't really practice in that area. So if you're not going to be able to get a debt collector, you at least, an attorney to handle the debt collection lawsuit for you, you should at least notify them that you do know that they violated, and that you would seek, before seeking legal action, that you would want them to dissolve that debt, and to send you a letter that they would not sell it, and that they will not contact you about that debt ever again. That's what you can do. But moving forward with what the CFPB is telling people to do, Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, when it comes to debt collector, is to get this information: amount owed, name of the creditor, original creditor, or if a debt collector has purchased it. I always tell people, ask them if they purchased it, and then how can you dispute the debt to verify that the debt is yours? Or, so this here is already confusing, because they're supposed to have already sent you this letter, and this is what makes dealing with all of this so confusing and complicated for people, to where they get upset and they end up just, disregarding it, because they're like, I'm following the steps that you put in order for them, but you're telling me that if a debt collector, according to the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, if a debt collector does not send you that demand letter and they call you, that they're actually in violation. So why should I even deal with any of this right here? Why should I even deal with any of that if you don't remember getting that? If you didn't get the letter, now if you got the letter, that's a different thing. But if you didn't remember getting the letter, and remember, they have all types of different ways or exemptions for them to be able to get out of the claims of you not getting a letter. They may say that they sent it to another address, last known address, or something like that. That's another reason why with debt collection companies, I'm noticing with the portfolios that are being sold, is that they are now saying that they are batching the debt that's being sold. The reason why they're batching them is because debt collection companies are tired of being sued from them not having the correct address, and then when they call to try to get information on the individual, they end up running into an individual that knows this rule here, and they end up getting sued. So what they would usually do is that they would just buy the debt, and then they would start trying to do skip tracing with the bureaus and trying to find where you're at, and if they can't, they'll send letters. Some of those letters will come back, some of them will be forwarded, and then they will get it to you, and then they will make the call. But some of the times what they'll do is they'll just call and they'll try to get information from you. It's like they're tricking you, and you're telling them, yes, it's me, this is my address. They might even try to sneak in where you're working at. They're trying to get that data so they can build their file on how they're going to try to come after you. Now, here are some things too that you need to be aware of. And sometimes people are don't think that debt collection companies will harass you. They will harass you. Number one is that they can't make repeated phone calls trying to annoy you, abuse, or harass you, or any person answering the phone. Like, they'll just say, hey, we're trying to reach John, and we're his buddy, and we're just trying to talk to him about certain debt that he owes, or we're just trying to reach out to him. We're with so and so company. They can't lie and do that. They can't make threats to sue you. They cannot make threats to sue you without actually suing you. And that's kind of a gray area, because you can't say how can you say you're going to sue someone when you're trying to get an opportunity that to pay a debt that you think they owe you, and the only threats that you have is to threat to sue them, to take them to court. Well, the way that the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act is written is that you cannot say that you're going to sue an individual without actually suing them. But that is a total gray area, because they don't say the time frame on suing them. Can't use any obscene or profane language. This was the old days. A lot of debt collection companies were doing this. You don't see that anymore. Threaten violence or harm, you don't see that really anymore. But if you have been threatened that way, with the threats in the abusive the language is more about you're a deadbeat, or why don't you pay your bills. They that type of stuff. They're not gonna say something obscene or cussing at you. So they're not able by law to say, hey, you're a deadbeat, why don't you pay your bills and stuff like that. They can't do that. And then they can't publish a list saying that you did not want to pay your debt. But what they can do is, if they take you to court, they can publish your name saying that you are being summoned to court for a debt, and they will publish your name. And they will also post your name at the courthouse. There's a list. I used to go to the courthouse and just see the list of people who were being sued, and I would tell them, these are, give them a piece of paper, these are your rights. When they call your name, this is what you should ask for. And people were actually getting their cases dismissed just by knowing that information. And then lastly here, talk to you without telling you who they are, which goes into this right here. So let's see here. Here's something here that they got, and then here's where you can submit a complaint. But we talked about this the other day about submitting the complaints. They said less than 2% of the people are getting relief when submitting those complaints. So be prepared. You can submit your complaints, but be prepared to actually, get into a fight about how you're going to solve your situation with the debt. So if the debt is several years old, they want you to find out what your state statute of limitations is for filing a lawsuit to collect the debt. Now, this is misleading, because it's not only just filing a lawsuit, it's to even call you about the debt. So this is where you get into some people who have never experienced a situation of having a debt collector come after them, and they write this. It is not just about filing a lawsuit to collect the debt. It is also calling you or trying to collect on that debt. If it is if it is passes the legal statute of limitations, you don't need to argue with them about the debt. You don't need to talk to them about the amount of the debt. The debt is not valid to collect if it's past the legal statute of limitations. So let's move over to the statute of limitations for collecting debt. Okay, this is my website, thecreditrepairshop.com. We are having some trouble with my site. There's a lot of content from when we had that issue with when the Amazon servers went down and we did a refresh. Some of the content was not there and some links are not working right. We're working on that. We'll get that resolved. But if you go to my website and you type in /statute limitations debt /, this page will pop up and you can see the statute of limitations. So the statute of limitations for written contracts, you're going to look in column 1, and then column 3 would be open end, like credit cards, revolving type accounts. This is what you need to pay attention to when it comes to legally having to pay a debt that is either that's not past the statute of limitations to collect. So if we just look here for Alabama, if you had let's just say a repossession, and it's from when they repoed the car and charged off or written off the debt. And the only way you're going to know that is by looking on your credit reports. And you need to look in the comments section. And if you don't have that, you need to go to the website that I give you, 3scores.com. I'm going to post that on here. You need to see that date because that could save you thousands of dollars and pain and suffering from dealing with debt collectors, because you can end everything right there if you know your rights and have the dates of the charge off. So if you had a repossession and it's past 3 years from the charge off date, and they send you a letter saying that they want to collect on that, you would be able to just send them a letter back saying that they have no legal right to collect it and that you will report them to the legal authorities in your state for even attempting to try to collect that debt. That you're giving them a chance to stop, and that they need to send you a letter back saying that they will not sell that debt, they will not transfer it, and that they will never come after you for it again. And if they do, and let's go back to the lesson we just learned, if they call you about it and they didn't send you the letter in advance, then you have a right to sue them for damages, and you will have the debt, where you would notify them it's past the legal statute of limitations. So you have a two for one on there. If it's a credit card debt, it's still a 3-year statute of limitations on the credit card debt. And then there's something on here that I want you to also know about, which is need to add another column here, is that for cell phones, cable bills, all of those types of debt, those are under a federal statute of 2 years. That's why you'll see a cell phone bill so quickly or a cable bill so quickly. Like they just get rid of them, and you have debt collectors calling you saying this is about an old cable or debt bill. Is because there's a 2-year federal statute of limitation on them even being able to collect those debts. That's why those debts are never sent, you'll never be sued in court for a cable bill or a cell phone bill unless you had a business one and it was blown up for thousands of dollars. You'll never end up having it because the statute of limitation comes too fast for communications type debt. So you can see here, if you go to my page, you can see the statute of limitations for all of the states. You can see that Kentucky, one of the poorest states in the nation, has a 15-year statute of limitations and a 5 or 15-year on credit card debt. I don't know why, but they do. And you can see Illinois, Indiana, and Iowa have higher statute of limitation dates on theirs, and you can see Rhode Island, and you can see West Virginia, which is incredible that they have that higher statute of limitations on the debt. And you will notice that in some of these states, businesses have very lenient bankruptcy rules that they can, wipe away debt easily, but they make it harder for individuals to be able to wipe away debt. All right, so we're going to end the video here. I hope this was a good lesson for you. I want you to look forward and make your day and start envisioning yourself accomplishing any goals that you have in front of you. Have that picture in your mind. If you have debt collections, stuff coming after you, that is not what you are. That is just a moment in time. Deal with it. Go through my videos and look at all of the different options and solutions that are available for you, and you will see yourself through this. If you need help with your credit, please visit us at thecreditrepairshop.com. Watch the video, What Makes Us Different. This is the way that we do it. It works. It's not a quick fix, but it will work for you if you give it time. Everybody's situation is different. If you need your credit reports and scores, go to the website your3scores.com. The links are below this video. If you have debt collectors coming after you, get my 3-pack of letters. It's free. Use those to stop debt collectors early. If it's already kind of in the process, I have 2 other letters that you can use to kind of let them know that you're going to take this serious and that they better have everything that they're going to need to try to proceed and move forward if they're thinking about trying to sue you or whatever they're trying to do. And there's other links below here. If you have a third-party debt collector trying to sue you, we have a summons response. We've been on a very good winning streak with getting them either delayed or dismissed because the information that is in those, they have to respond to those as a third-party debt collector. All right, this is Stephen A. Williams, president and founder of thecreditrepairshop.com. Thank you for your time.